Alrighty, welcome back to what I think is episode 6, if I'm right in the timeline, of season 2 of Talk Small Business to Me. Today we're welcoming the amazing Tracy from Leaf Candle Co. How are you today?
I'm good, thank you. Thanks for having me.
No, of course. Is there anything that you're excited about to talk on the podcast today?
I'm excited to share my story and yeah, just really looking forward to getting into all the details and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, love it. One of my favorite questions to ask is if you were to give your business a signature song, what song would it
Ooh.
be?
Oh gosh, that's a
Mm.
tricky one. It would probably change every week
Yep, real.
because I make candles and my favorite scent does change every week.
Yes.
But I guess just something probably I can't even think. I've gone blank. Something super chill and uplifting.
Mm,
Yeah.
okay. So like something like what about a genre? Because when I think of
Maybe
chill,
like
I'm
a
thinking like
yeah,
lo-fi or
like
like
a like an indie kind of
yeah,
like an
okay.
alt J kind of thing. Yeah.
Yeah, great.
Yeah.
Something that's like you could listen as you're like cruising down the coastline, like
Yeah.
that sort of thing.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
for
see it.
sure.
Be so cool. I reckon let's just jump in. And I'd just love to hear a bit of your story. What even led yourself to start Leaf Candle Co?
Yeah. So I guess probably about 10 years ago, I just had a candle obsession. I've always loved candles. Growing up, we always had candles burning in our house, and it was just a thing that I've always loved having in my house. And so for my birthday one year, my husband bought me a voucher to go to a candle making workshop. He thought I would love it, and I did. He was right. And I did this workshop, and I was just like, I love it. I'm going to buy all the things, and like bought all the supplies, and just started making candles for myself at home, I guess. And started by refilling all of my old candle jars because if you're a candle burning person, you just accumulate these jars. So
Yeah.
refilled all of them and was burning them for myself, and then ran out of those really quickly. And somewhere along the line, I was like, oh hey, like this tin might work. Like I think we'd had spaghetti bolognese for dinner or something. There was a tin. I was like, I'm going to make a candle in that. We'll see how it goes. Kind of did some tests and it worked really well. So I started then making candles in tins, and I made some cute labels for them, and just started really just for myself. Making the candles. A few of my friends and family then were like, "Hey, I'll have one. Make me one. I'll buy one. I've got a birthday coming up. Make me one." My mum for
Yeah.
everyone for Christmas one year was like, "Make me a candle for everyone I know." So she put them in the
Yes.
hampers for everyone, and I guess that's how I started. Making candles, selling candles. So I didn't really introduce the business properly there. So at Leaf Candle Co, we make our candles using upcycled tin cans. So all of our candles are made using like little, just tins. So these are what you would get like tomato and um, coconut milk, any tinned vegetables, baked beans, all sorts of tuna tins, all
Yeah.
sorts of stuff. So that's I guess our point of difference. And then I put kind of labels on them, and they turn into candles. Yeah.
It's so cute. I love it. Um, Obviously, like kind of talking about like the workshop sort of evolution there.
Yeah.
So, like, was it the my next question is kind of like about candle making and what like captured your interest in it and why eventually you wanted to make it into a business, which I think you kind of talked about.
Mm-hmm.
But was it in the sense of like it started off as like this almost like therapeutic hobby where it was
Yeah.
like, oh, this is just so much fun, like little artsy. What was like the point of difference where you were like, actually, no, this is what I want to pursue further?
Yeah. So I think I've always been a creative person. I've always, loved anything artsy, like from even a child, like arts and crafts were where I was at. I come from a photography background, so that's what I studied when I went to university, and then I worked for 15 years in the photography industry and moved into marketing, and so that's where I was kind of working in my day job at the time. And then, so I guess at that time when I started the candle making, I had just moved into a more strategic marketing role in the business that I was working for at the time. And I think I was craving a little bit of a creative outlet. And so candle making kind of came to me, well, found me, I guess,
Yes.
at the right time. And so at the start, it was just a hobby. I would make candles for myself. And, if I had a stressful day at work, I'd come home, oh, I'm going to make a candle. And then the kind of if you've ever done candle making before, you'll know it's a really mindful kind of practice. So, you put the wax in the burner and you watch it melt, and then you add the fragrance and you've got the steam and the scents coming at you. And it's just a really nice process. And I would use it to kind of just relax, at the end of a stressful day. And so for me, I guess I enjoyed, and I still enjoy, after all of these years, I still enjoy the process of candle making. I think I just found something that I enjoyed doing. It found me at the right time, or I found candle making at the right
Yeah.
time. And I guess a couple of years later, I kind of moved through a few different roles, and I was just doing candle making as a side hustle, I guess. So I was working full time, selling at markets on weekends, and then the dreaded COVID happened. I think we were
Yeah.
all just fighting for our lives at that time. It was such a strange time. Thinking back on it now, how did we all get through it?
Mm.
But I actually took a step back. So I'd started doing markets probably 6 months before all of the lockdowns and
Yeah,
everything happened.
okay. Yeah.
So I was kind of just starting to kind of build up the business. I didn't have an online store. I had kind of an Instagram page, but I was doing markets, um, and then everything closed up, and we were. I think I was just took a break from it all at that point. Everyone was working from home, and I was still making candles a little bit for myself. And if a friend asked me, I would make some, but it was really I put a pause on it at that point. And then I also was pregnant, and so had a baby at the end of 2020. Great
Yeah.
timing. And
Crazy.
so, yeah, and so then the candle making was a bit on pause at that point. And then probably halfway through 2021, I was made redundant from my full time role. Um, and I had, a 6-month-old baby. I was still on mat leave, and I was like, okay, I think I want to give this candle thing a go, like a real go. I'd kind of I was starting to gain momentum on it, and then we put a pause. And I was like, I'm gonna do it for 6 months. My husband had 6 months parental leave, and so I said, I'm gonna do candles. I'm gonna do it for 6 months, and we'll see how it goes. And at the end of it, I can get a real job if I have to,
Yes.
And so I kind of, we had a date. I think it's actually was around about this time of the year, September. My husband was starting his leave, and I said, all right, I'm going to launch on September 15th or whatever it was. And so I hit the ground running. I built a website in 2 weeks, and launched, and yeah, just applied for all the markets, and have been doing it full time, I guess, since then. So yeah, it's kind of evolved and changed a little bit. Had another baby since then, so I've got two
Mm.
kids, business, and
Oh,
yeah.
wow.
So
Hectic.
I don't know if I answered the question, but kind of took
No,
you on a bit of
yeah.
a journey there.
No, yeah, no, it was great. It's definitely there was a lot that kind of happened in and around that COVID era, and I think
Mm,
there was a lot of people that were left to be like,
what do
well,
I do with
what
my life?
yeah, what do I do with myself? And I think
Yep.
yeah, that would have been so hard, particularly when you're in mat leave, when you've just
Yeah.
bought a new person into this world and you're like, oh,
Yep,
this was
I
not
know.
on the bingo card.
I think like at the time I was like, oh, like this sucks. This really, really
Oh, yeah.
is the worst thing ever. But it honestly, it gave me that little push that
Mm,
I needed, because I wonder if I hadn't been made redundant, would I have ever had the courage to kind of step out of a
mm.
full time role?
The
And
stability of it, you know?
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. Especially with a young family as well. You know, would I have
Mm,
ever had that confidence to do it, or would I have just left it on pause, or had it as a side hustle or as a hobby? You know,
mm.
so I am really. I mean, I still get annoyed about it when I think
Yeah,
about it,
no.
but I'm
There's
also
hindsight.
exactly. I'm truly grateful for that happening. For to give me that push, that little push from the universe, you know, that I maybe needed to be able to put my full attention into Leaf Candle Co.
Mm.
Yeah.
No, 100%. One of the last episode I think we did, that there was a very like similar narrative in terms of like the idea of just giving it a go. Like
Hmm.
there's you don't know what you're going to lose until you actually just do it. And I
Yep.
think for you you had already, I guess, lost
Hmm.
the the stability of that full-time work.
Yep.
So it was you didn't know the
No,
other
so I was
side of
like,
it.
and I'm like, I had nothing to lose, you know. It
Yes,
was like, I'm
exactly.
just gonna put everything I can into this, and if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. You know,
Mm,
I'll get a real job. I'll find
yes.
another job, and I guess I still kind of see it that way as well. Like, you know, I mean, I would be shattered if I had to not
Yeah.
have my business now. Like, it's everything to me now. But if I have to, you know, you can, like, if you have to get a job, you can get a job. Like,
Mm.
it's not the end of the world.
Yeah.
So
And it's we're all living life, you know. We're all just doing things, and
yeah,
just because there's a slight change to the narrative doesn't mean that you can't pick it up, and
exactly.
we're very adaptable. I think we just don't give
Yeah,
ourselves enough credit for how
yeah.
adaptable we can be.
For sure, for sure.
Yeah.
And like I also kind of think like, well, this, like I talk about it like this isn't a job, but like it is my job, you know, like I do
Yeah,
have a job. I have a
exactly.
business.
But it's also
Um
your passion. So that's
yes,
the
for
yeah.
sure, for sure. Yep.
Mm. Your brand has a very strong like eco-conscious like ethos.
Mhm.
You kind of have mentioned, I guess, this pipeline of it, but
Mm.
how did that become part of your identity as a maker?
Yeah, for sure. Well, I guess I've always been really interested in sustainability and recycling and repurposing things. It's always been something that's been part of my identity. So, you know, I'll always
Mm.
like be like thrift shopping and looking for furniture at, you know, antique shops, or not antique shops, like less fancy than antique
Like op
shops. But, you
shops.
know, like,
Yeah.
yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Like it's always been, been something I'm really interested in. And I guess that was where part of the idea, you know, part of it was like, oh, there's this tin can and I want to make a candle. I don't have anything to put it in. But
Mm.
part of it was the thought of like, hey, could this work? You
Mm.
know, and um, I'd seen a lot of candles in wine bottles. You know, like there's a few businesses doing that. And so when I was making the business, I was like, I don't want to copy another business. Like, I don't want to do exactly what someone else is doing. And so the cans I hadn't seen before. And I was like, this is kind of cool. And if it works, you know, like if I tested it and the tin melted down and it didn't work, like that's fine, you know. But like
Mm.
the tins, they hold up really well as candle vessels.
Mm.
Um, and it worked really cool. I could put my own kind of spin on it. For me, I guess, when I was thinking of starting the business, it was super important to me to kind of not me bringing more waste into the world, I guess.
Mm.
Like, and I, you know, I always try to kind of repurpose um, objects, you know, before throwing them out, I guess. And it just kind of, it really fit really well. So like my personal kind of ethos kind of meshed well with this kind of cool idea. They look cool. It feels like I'm doing something. And I guess like when you're looking at sustainability as well, like you can fall into the trap of, well, I can't do everything, so I'm just going to do nothing.
Mm.
um, and I fall into that trap as well. And something I struggle with like my packaging as well. Like, you know, I'm like, well, do I need packaging? Yes, I do need packaging, but how much packaging? And like, it's this constant battle that I am always having.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and it's like, well, I'm doing something. So like doing a little bit is better than not doing anything at all, you know?
Yes.
And if there's small steps that everyone can take, it will make a big difference. You know, you don't have to do like, it doesn't have to be everyone doing everything perfectly
Yes.
to make a bit of a difference. So I guess when I'm looking at introducing new products to my line, I'm always looking at ways that I can um, repurpose products, or when I'm looking at my packaging and like if you look at my labels here, like these are paper labels
Yeah. Okay.
that I just kind of stick on to the candle. And so that was again important to me to create something that, you know, wasn't plastic, not bringing more plastic into the world.
Yep.
But then again, at the same time, I'll just show you. This is a newer product of mine. So these are little piccolo wine bottles, and I'm doing reed diffusers in them. Yeah, I can see the little reeds in there.
Mm-hmm.
So these labels are vinyl, they're plastic, and they have to be for the type of product that it is. So
Mm.
there is, you know, there's always kind of that push and pull of how far can you take it. And for me, it's like doing something is better than doing nothing at all, I guess. So I'm repurposing wine bottles, but then there will be some elements that you have to kind of compromise for the functionality of the product. Um,
Yeah. It's just the
yeah,
balance of it. Like it's just working out.
for
Um,
sure.
it's not even like at the end of the day, it's still the heart of your business, and it's still
For
something that
sure.
you derive a lot of things from.
Yep.
Um, so it's not necessarily that you're pretending ignorantly, or even that idea of like greenwashing, where it's like you're pretending to be more
Hmm.
sustainable than you actually are.
Yeah, and like, and I definitely get that like imposter syndrome of,
Mm,
and I think a lot of people, you know, you look at the business and you say like, oh, you're doing such a great thing and you're repurposing, and I feel like, well, I'm trying, you know,
mm,
but I also feel like I do get a bit of that imposter syndrome, and I do get it because I am buying packaging to put my products in, or
yes,
you know, I am doing, you know, doing certain things. There's some things that you just can't, you can't compromise on, or like I'm not
yes,
kind of willing to compromise on. You know, I could put a paper label on my diffusers, but then after 2 uses, they'll be all like run. You know, they'll have stains on them, and the product will look terrible, and then it'll look terrible in someone's house, and then no one's going to want that. You know.
exactly.
um. So where I can, you know, I do as much as I can, but I always have to remind myself to go back to like doing something is better than doing nothing.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
How do you find, because obviously you've got like your tin and your piccolo um, bottles and stuff like that.
Mhm.
How is it sourcing that look like for you? What does that
Yeah.
process look like?
So the tins are all donated to me from friends and family. A few small businesses will donate as well. So I'm lucky enough to have like a few of my friends who work in schools and work in warehouses as well. So they go through like a lot of tuna tins. I guess like close friends of mine will put the call out to their friends. So they're all kind of collecting. Sometimes I'll get home and there's like a box of tins on my doorstep. I'm like, where did they come from?
Yes.
Um, And, sometimes at markets, customers will bring me bags or
Mm.
boxes of tins. So it's great. I kind of put the call out there on social media and people just kind of are collecting for me, which is
Mm.
wonderful. And my parents live in, I'm not allowed to call it a retirement village. It's like a lifestyle,
Yes,
over
yes.
50s resort living.
Yeah.
Amazing. Um, I can't call it the retirement village. But they have about 250 residents there as well, and so mum and dad just have a box at their doorstep, and people put in their tins and stuff for me, which is so wonderful. In terms of the Piccolo wine bottles, I've actually partnered with another small business, a Melbourne business called Just a Glass. So they create these beautiful wine basically in the Piccolo bottle. So it's just a glass. And so all of their sample bottles from the events that they collect for me, and then I turn them into diffusers. So yeah, so we kind of met each other on the market scene and got friendly that way. And
Mm.
then after I think after it was at the end of one of the events, I was like, what do you do with those
Mm.
bottles? Like, she's like, I just put them in the recycling bin. I was like, oh, I'm like, can I have them? She's like,
Yeah.
yeah, so it kind of was like a really just kind of off the cuff conversation that we had that's then now turned into a product for me. And diffusers is something that I've always wanted to add to my line
Mhm.
since starting, and I never found the right, like, nothing ever felt right to me.
Yeah.
It's that constant like battle that I'm having of like, do I buy the packaging? Do I buy the glassware? Is it being recyclable? Is that enough for me? Or,
Mm.
and so this felt like a really kind of authentic
Yeah.
way to add a new product to my
Mm.
business.
Yeah.
Yeah. And also, partnering with them, because obviously it helps, I guess, we're repurposing this wine bottle that's getting a second use, so it's not a single use product.
Yeah.
It may eventually down the line get recycled, but it's being used twice now instead of just once. So
100%.
yeah.
No, that's so cool. You've talked a lot about your like journey with markets.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously it's such a huge part of like the handmade space.
Yeah.
What has your experience been, not only at markets, but been with connecting with people face to face in those
Yeah.
spaces?
It's so I think when I first started, I was doing lots of like littler markets, and it was just so validating, I guess, for me. Like, I had this idea, and a few people, like friends and family, thought it was cool. Like, I thought it was
Mm.
cool, and a few people were close to me. But then it was like, your mum's always going to tell you
Yes.
what you do in school, like,
Yeah.
and your best friends are always going to say, like, yeah, they're always going to kind of encourage you. So I didn't know if I had something that was kind of viable. So doing those markets was really important to me in kind of starting the business and refining the business as
Mm.
well. And so getting that initial customer feedback and seeing what worked. And I started with a really big range. Like, I had about 22 cents, and I used to actually spray paint the tins, and so I had like 6 colors that I would do it in, and 22 cents, and then it was so complicated. It was like I would make all of the scents in all of the different colors, and the customers could choose, and it was a lot. And so,
Yes.
kind of seeing customers face to face
Yeah.
really helped to kind of like refine the
Mm.
products down into, firstly to like see what scents kind of
Mm-hmm.
worked. And then also, I took a bit of a step and I was like, no, one color equals one fragrance.
Hmm. Yeah.
And then down the line from that, I was spending a lot of my time kind of spray painting tins, and again, that wasn't really sitting right with
Mm.
my business ethos, and so I changed over to the paper labels. So there's one fragrance for one color, and I kind of kept the same colors that I was
Mm.
spray painting. I just kind of designed up some little labels, and so doing the markets really helped to kind of find my way, I guess,
Mhm.
into what works and what products work as well. And also, um, as I mentioned, like, customers will sometimes bring me bags of tins to,
Yeah.
markets and stuff like that. So it is really building that, I guess, bit of community around the
Yeah.
brand. And also that, going back to like doing something is better than doing nothing,
Yeah.
like you can just put your tins into your recycling bin and that's fine. But I guess it kind of makes people feel like they're doing something to make a difference as well,
They're
like
part of
repurposing.
something.
Yeah, exactly. And like, I'm not trying to make out like I'm changing the world or anything like
No.
that, but doing something small, it helps my business for sure. But it also, it gives these cans like a second life. And the tins, as I mentioned, like they hold up really well as candle vessels, and they actually, they don't kind of lose their, um, what's the word I'm looking for? Like glassware, candle glassware, you can only reuse them a certain amount of times, because every time you're burning the glass, like, it loses a bit of, the strength, I guess.
Yeah,
And
the
so you can only
durability.
yeah, exactly. But the tins can just be reused and reused and reused. Like, it doesn't take away from the strength of the tins from burning them. So the candles, can be refilled, and a lot of customers do, again, they'll bring their tins, they use tins back to me to refill. So it's another lovely way of, instead of it being used twice, now it's being used 3 times or 4 times. So I think, the markets is definitely a way that I can connect face to face
Yes.
with the customers and kind of build, and have the conversations as well that you can't necessarily have, through your online store.
Mm, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's all like that journey at the end of the day. You also now run workshops as
Yeah.
well. And I think that's super cool considering like your
How I
story
started.
started
Yeah.
with a workshop.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, like what does that like mean to you, and like what do you enjoy most about teaching in that space
Yeah,
as
I
well?
think, it is that like connection with the customers. So I really enjoy meeting people face to face and sharing this passion with people. So as I've said earlier, like I've always been a creative person,
Mm-hmm.
um, and I think I've found that being able to like teach people candle making, whether it is, whether they are thinking of starting a business, or they're just wanting to, get out for the night, or whether it's a date night or something like that. Like, I think, I really enjoy creating like a nice experience for people, and, also informing and educating people on, how to make candles safely and how to burn your candles safely, because it's a huge part of making candles. It's not just like mixing some fragrance into wax and putting a wick in and there you go. Like, there's
Yeah.
a lot more kind of to it than that. So, I really enjoy connecting with people, having lovely conversations.
Yeah.
Um, I found something that really works for me. So
Yeah.
yeah,
And I think it's so special considering like that is like what sparked it for you. Um and just like being able to, I guess, not that every some people are just doing it for the fun, but it's kind of like reliving that like that first love aspect of it.
yeah, for sure, for sure. And I guess on a business side of things as well, like the last couple of years have been a bit tough in
Yeah.
like the retail world.
Mhm.
A lot of people are holding on to some of their money, and not so much spending, as much on like a luxury item, which a candle definitely is a luxury
Yes.
item. But I found, pivoting the business away from like just being a product that people buy, but
Mm.
having this experience that, people can kind of buy into as well. It's been like it's been a bit of a game changer for my business as well. So not only like people will still be spending a little bit of more money on experiences, on date nights or on
Yeah.
friends catch ups and stuff like that. But I've also been able to do some corporate workshops, and people hens parties. That's been a
Yes.
big one, and birthday parties as well. So I guess there's still people willing to kind of spend a bit of money on experiences and things like that, and pivoting the business for me has been like a really key factor in keeping my
Mm,
business up and running. So not only like I love the workshops, I love meeting the people and stuff like that, but like strategically as a business, it's been
yeah.
really a good move for
Yeah,
me as well.
100%. Yeah,
Yeah.
and like when we're talking like that post-COVID,
Hmm.
um, I guess build up again, because there was so much that changed, and I think people's like mentality around things really shifted.
Hmm.
And like you said, moving away from those like luxury purchases,
Yeah.
I think people really craved that being, I guess, isolated for so long, people really craved that connection. And I think you can
Yeah.
still see that now where it's like people
Absolutely.
uh, people felt so alone, isolated, everything like that, that now there's been this shift in, I guess,
Hmm.
the climate, like the social climate of our world, where
Yeah.
people are desiring to
To
do
spend time
things,
with others.
spend time with others.
Yep,
Yeah.
for sure.
And that's the beautiful space where workshops and that, I guess, even creativity in itself
Hmm.
kind of falls into, because
Yeah.
I am such a firm believer that um as humans we're inherently creative. Like
Yep.
I think it's the biggest cop out when someone's like, I'm not creative. I'm like, you
It's
just
like
don't
you
know what it
are. You
looks
don't
like.
know exactly. Yep. Yep.
So I think it's such a beautiful opportunity to step in with people, um, and really foster that community as well.
Yeah, I agree. I agree.
Mm. Yeah, and so obviously where you had like obviously that COVID shift and everything like that,
Hmm.
um, whether you want to talk into that or whether there's something specific otherwise, but what's been one of the biggest challenges you faced as a small business owner, and how did you work through it?
I think like there's challenges all the time and with
Yeah.
all businesses. But I think for me, it's more of like the ongoing. So being a small business, it's just me. So I always
Mm.
like, I'll say like, like at Leaf Candle Co., we, blah, blah,
Yeah.
blah. But it is just me
Hmm.
at the moment. So wearing all the hats um,
Hmm.
is definitely a challenge. Um, it's, I guess, you don't start a business to do admin.
No.
That's not the reason.
No.
You don't start a candle business to be answering emails and to be
Hmm.
paying invoices and booking markets, and that's all part of it.
Hmm.
So I think wearing all the hats, being the creative person, which I love.
Yes.
I love making the candles, and I love designing the labels and thinking of new product ideas and collaborations and all of that kind of stuff. That's great. And I love meeting customers and but then you're the bookkeeper and you're the scheduler, the um, booking person and
Yes.
um, like all the things that kind
Hmm.
of come with it is definitely a challenge. I'm not at a stage at the moment to be able to hire any staff. Hopefully one day I will be, and then I can kind of offload some of the more undesirable
Yes.
tasks. Um, but I guess another thing for small businesses is managing cash flow. That's a huge challenge. If you have a job, like when you're working, you go to work, you do your job, you get paid, and then that's your money,
Hmm.
right?
Yeah.
Um, for me, I guess it's, and for a lot of businesses as well, you're like, oh, like I did this awesome market, or I booked out a workshop, like that's $900. I booked out a workshop, great.
Hmm.
But it's not $900 in your pocket.
No.
It's, you've got the costs of putting on the workshop, say, and then there's, then like the materials cost, and then there's the postage, I post the candles out, so then that's another cost, and then it's all of the scheduling and admin that you've done prior to all of that time. Like, it's not $900 for 2 hours of work. It's
No.
all of the prior work you've put into it, and then there's the business costs. So then there's you're always like, you've got invoices to pay for products and markets and all of the things. Your rent's coming up soon, and so it's not. I think that shift of having, like, going to work, getting paid, money in your pocket, that's your expenditure. That shift of having to kind of manage the cash flow, and then not knowing also, like, you have a steady dollar amount coming in, and there's obviously like the peaks and troughs of like the busy season and the quieter season, and managing everything that comes with it. I guess for me, they're the big challenges of like trying to do all the things and managing the cash flow.
No, 100%. So on the other hand, then, what's been one of the proudest, almost memorable moments since starting Live
Oh,
Candle Co?
I have a few.
Okay, great.
So I guess for me, booking my first market, that was huge, and it wasn't anything big. It was a local market to me, and you put your application in, and you like sweat over it. You think for hours. You're like, how do I word this and whatever. And then to get accepted to a market, like, that was huge. I'm like, someone thinks my idea is cool. So that was a huge milestone for me, I guess. And in the same vein of when I launched my website, on my online store, getting an order from a random person who wasn't my mum's friend or my old next door neighbor, or like someone who was on my Facebook friends list, or my uncle's boss or something. Like, there was no, like, getting that first random, and it happened pretty quickly. Like, I had an Instagram page before I launched my website, and I still don't have a big following, but obviously, like, people would come and see me at markets, and I had some followers on that, and so I was obviously promoting the website. But the first day that I launched my online store, I got a couple, like 1 or 2 orders from random people who I had no personal connection with, and that was huge to me. That was like, oh, like, these people don't know me. Like, it's not just my friends supporting me. These, like, that was such a big deal to me. So, like, I guess it's not a huge thing, but they were really big moments for me. And then I guess, like, about 2 years ago, I got selected for it's called the Uncovered program at the Sydney Opera House. So they work with 3 different artists or small businesses every year, and they stock your products in their gift store. And so there's like a big application kind of process that you go through, and so I was selected 2 years ago to be one of the Uncovered artists, which was amazing for me. And so so the Sydney Opera House stocked my candles, which is so weird. And they came out and they did like a profile video at my studio. Like, they came out and did it was this big thing they did. They interviewed me, and it was like, oh wow, like, I've made it,
Yeah, literally, that's such a cool opportunity.
Yeah. And I think also, like, for me, like, I'm not saying like having your candle stocked at a small local store, like, that's incredible to me. Like, that still blows my mind that that'll happen. But like the Sydney Opera House, like, you can say that, you can drop that to any person in the world, like, not just like, not in Australia, like, anyone in the world, like the Sydney Opera House sell my candles, like, immediately people will understand what that is. Not taking away from any of the smaller things, but that was just a huge thing for me. And I actually got to go and visit my little candles this year, so I hadn't been able to go, but I was up there for a market actually in May, and so I just ran down and visited my candles and said hello to them. That was really nice to kind of see it in person as well. So
yeah. Well, I mean, all those moments, they're still big milestones,
yeah,
like, they're not,
for sure.
they're, just because like one might feel like less grand on a scale doesn't mean it's any less valuable to your business journey. And I think,
Yeah.
um, yeah, there's just there's some sweet, like there's something sweet about those small moments as well.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. And you have to like it's easy to get bogged down in um the bad stuff, like the
Mm,
hard stuff, I guess. So you have to celebrate the small wins, and
mm,
sometimes those small wins mean more than the big ones. So, like
yeah.
obviously like the big things matter as well. But like I don't know, like the other day, like I've been looking for like packaging for like my Christmas gift packs, and like haven't
Mm,
been able to find anything. Like I've just been looking and been looking and looking, and then I stumbled upon this little box that is like the perfect fit for my candles, and it
so
was made for it, and it's like, oh my god,
mm,
like this is amazing. Like I don't know, I just felt so chuffed about it. Like it's such a silly thing to get so excited about, but I was so excited that it was like
mm.
this box fits my candle.
No, literally though. Well, like your
um,
your business becomes your baby, and it's like you've
yeah,
got to celebrate the big wins, Like it's not like you're gonna get a fun run, but you're gonna get a box that fits your Christmas candles, and that's
yes,
big.
it's a huge deal, like
Yeah.
I don't have to like spend so much money getting custom packaging made.
Oh, literally. Yeah, big
Yeah.
deal.
Yeah.
Well, when we're looking ahead, what are the hopes for the future, both for your business and yourself as a maker?
Yeah. So I think for me the next step is wholesale.
Hmm.
So I've done a little bit. There's a few stores that stock the candles, but um, again, it's this packaging thing.
Yeah,
it's my
always
like
packaging.
bane of my existence. I have this like love hate relationship with it. I understand the need for it, and so
Mm,
um, I think that's my next big thing, is trying to get my candles out
mm,
into stores and stockists. So I'm excited to kind of get that up
mm.
and running.
Yeah.
And yeah, I've got a lot of products in the pipeline. Again, I've got so many ideas for collaborations and um, different products that I can put out there into the world.
Mm,
And different creators that I can be working
yeah.
with as well. So yeah, I guess there's lots of kind of product development and getting the candles out there to in front of more people. For me, I think is a yeah something that
No.
I really want to focus on.
Yeah, awesome.
Yeah.
Um, that is my last question, but I would love to ask if there's any sort of like final or lasting advice that maybe you were given, or maybe that's something that's resonated through your business that you would give to someone that's um, might feel a bit of a pickle in their business, or maybe they're just starting. What would you
Yeah,
say?
for sure, for sure. Well, I think for me, my main bit of advice that I would give anyone, especially like in something like candle making, it's such a flooded market. It's a huge market. And um, the first thing is there's room for all of us. um, if you find a unique selling point.
Mm,
So be unique, be yourself, like be true to yourself. Don't just look at what other people are doing and be like, oh, that sells really well for them, so I'm going to do that.
mm,
And um, I guess try to just like don't put a scent into your range that other people like.
yes.
If you don't like it, like you
Mm-hmm.
have to love what you're doing. So be true to yourself. There's room for all of us, absolutely,
Mm,
but find something unique, whether it is the candle vessels or the vessels, the packaging, the names that you give,
mm,
the labels, the whatever. You can expand this out to any other
yes.
business. The the shapes that you're making your mugs in, or
Yeah.
whatever it is. Find something unique and be true to yourself. But there is room for all of us. Like there's always room for more handmade, um, thoughtfully made, consciously made products. Like
Mm,
there's there's room for all of us,
Yeah.
but find something that makes you unique and that that you love doing.
Mm. Yeah,
um,
true.
yeah,
It's all about finding your niche and then
for
running
sure.
with it.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, that is it for all my questions.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
thank you so much for joining today and just giving a little bit of insight into your journey as a maker and small business owner. Um, but I'm gonna do my closing. I am going to preface it again. But that's that's it for episode 6. Thank you so much for joining. If there's anything that you want to hear, anything you want to know, let us know. But yes, amazing chat with Tracy today. Anyway, tune in for the next episode. That's Talk Small Business to Me.